Is it possible that Ferrari is doomed before the 2026 season begins? Subscribe to continue uploading more of this type of content now, if we continue. The 2026 Formula One season is destined to become a watershed in the history of the sport. Unlike other regulatory modifications in the past, where the adjustments were limited to one or two areas of the car, this time we are facing a complete redesign that affects absolutely every technical, structural, and philosophical aspect of the car. It's not just an evolution. It is a controlled demolition of the current model and the construction of a completely new one. DRS, since its appearance in 2011, was designed as a tool to facilitate overtaking in an era when dirty air and aerodynamic efficiency made it almost impossible to approach another car without losing charge. Essentially, it opened the rear wing in specific areas to reduce drag and increase straight-line speed. But the system had limits. It was binary, artificial, and only available to the chasing car under very specific conditions. It didn't really reflect the skill of the driver or the technical potential of the car. That changes in 2026. Active aerodynamics introduces unprecedented complexity. The front and rear wings will be mobile, with the ability to dynamically switch between two main configurations, the so-called straight mode and curve mode. In the first, the aerodynamic elements are flattened, drastically reducing drag and allowing a higher top speed. In the second, the aerodynamic load is recovered to improve cornering and stability. But unlike DRS, this system can be used in multiple areas of the circuit, not just on straights. The FIA will establish specific zones designated as free from traction limitation, and drivers will be able to switch between modes depending on their driving style, track conditions, or strategy. That is, a driver will be able to change the behavior of his car several times during the same lap. It's a level of aerodynamic control that has never been seen before in F1. And it doesn't end there. The system will also have a third special configuration for rainy or low grip conditions, where the front wings will remain in low drag mode, while the rear wings will continue to generate load. This partial mode aims to improve the balance of the car in critical conditions, and the control of its activation will be in the hands of the race director, depending on the weather situation. The impact of this active aerodynamics is not only technical, it's strategic. It completely changes the way drivers attack, defend, and manage each lap. Constant decisions will have to be made. Switch to straight mode to squeeze out speed, or maintain curve mode to ensure control. Risk stability for a greater tip? Go for speed in a key lap or ensure consistency. This decision-making becomes even more complex with the arrival of two new electric modes, overtake mode and boost mode. Overtake mode is the direct response to the elimination of DRS as an exclusive aid to the chasing car. Its operation is simple in concept, but extremely strategic in execution. When a driver is less than 1 second from a car in front, he can activate a release of 0.5 megajoules of additional electrical energy. Now you are not required to use it immediately or all at once. You can distribute it however you prefer throughout a lap. This completely changes the game. A psychological component is introduced in overtaking. A driver can make a fake, force the rival to use his energy, and then counterattack in the next corner or lap with reserves intact. Boost mode, for its part, is an independent tool. It does not depend on the proximity to another car. It is a totally free function. Energy accumulated through the recovery system, ERS, that the pilot can activate at any time to attack or defend, to close a qualifying lap, or to maintain position under full pressure. Boost mode introduces a new parameter to a pilot's skill set, energy management as an offensive and defensive resource. Both systems combined with active aerodynamics turn each turn into a moving chessboard. It will no longer be enough to have a fast car. It will be necessary to have a pilot capable of making tactical decisions in real time with coldness and precision. The track engineer will take on even more prominence. You'll no longer limit yourself to talking about differentials, temperatures, or stopping strategy. It will be the second brain of the car. Someone who must read the modes, anticipate the rival's changes, and guide his pilot through a completely dynamic environment. And teams that manage to create predictive software based on machine learning or artificial intelligence to optimize energy use and active aerodynamic modes will have a key advantage. The new era of Formula One begins in 2026 with a blank board, but Ferrari is far from having its masterstroke ready. In theory, such a deep technical restart should benefit historic teams like the Scuderia, with plenty of resources, infrastructure, and experience to lead the adaptation. But the reality inside Maranello is much more complicated. Ferrari is not only starting from behind in key areas, but is saddled with a recent history of ill-calibrated decisions, fragile structures, and a deep resistance to change that threatens to make this new regulation its biggest challenge of the 21st century. One of the main friction points is in the power unit. Since the return of hybrids in 2014, Ferrari has had a turbulent relationship with the development of complex engines. And although they achieved some stability with the SF23 and then the SF24, they were always one step behind Mercedes in efficiency and Red Bull in aerodynamic integration. The problem worsens by 2026 because the new engines will be based on a completely different philosophy. More electric power, less dependence on the combustion engine, greater energy recovery, and finer integration with active aerodynamic systems and energy deployment modes. Sources close to Ferrari's technical department have already acknowledged that the new design of its hybrid unit is behind on several fronts. The energy storage system presents problems of thermal efficiency and weight. The MGUK, which will be essential for the new electric overtaking modes, is not generating or deploying energy with the expected consistency. And the most worrying thing, the energy management software is still in the prototype phase, very far from a level of maturity that teams like Mercedes or Red Bull have, which have already been fine-tuning predictive control algorithms in real time for years. But it's not all about the engine. The aerodynamic area is also showing cracks. The new regulation requires a complete mastery of active aerodynamics, moving elements, dynamic simulations, and real-time control of multiple parameters. Ferrari has historically struggled with adapting to complex dynamic management systems. The memory of its failures with the active suspension system in the 90s, or even its hesitant implementation of DRS in the early years of this technology, still weighs heavily internally. Now, with movable front and rear spoilers, multiple activatable modes, and the need to coordinate all this with energy deployment, the challenge is multiplied. One especially critical area is software. Unlike McLaren or Red Bull, which have internal departments dedicated exclusively to the development of real-time simulation software, Ferrari has outsourced part of these functions or fragmented them into different internal teams. This has generated delays in the integration of aerodynamics modes with prediction systems, tire temperature, and chassis structural response. Without a unified platform that centralizes all these variables, the pilot runs the risk of not receiving the right information at the right time. And that in the new F1 can mean losing positions simply due to a poor downforce prediction before a critical corner. Added to this is a tense internal context. Although Frederic Vasseur has managed to partially stabilize the team's leadership, there remain power struggles and competing visions within Maranello. Some sectors are pushing to maintain Ferrari's tradition as a high-level artisanal manufacturer. Others understand that modern F1 requires a more open mentality, closer to the philosophy of technology companies. This cultural clash slows down key decision-making and slows down the execution of innovative projects. In addition, Ferrari is one of the teams most exposed to the media. Every mistake is amplified, every delay creates pressure. With the arrival of Lewis Hamilton in 2025, expectations increased even more. But instead of heading towards clear leadership, the team seems more divided than ever between the ambition to return to the top and the inability to break away from the structures that have kept them stagnant for more than a decade. The short-term outlook is bleak. While rivals such as McLaren are testing experimental hybrid systems on track, and Red Bull has accelerated its migration to dynamic simulations based on artificial intelligence, Ferrari is still solving integration problems between its wind tunnels and its CFD. This means that any errors in your models could take weeks to be detected and corrected. And when every day counts, that's a luxury no team can afford. Ferrari not only has to catch up, it must be reinvented, because this coming technical storm will have no mercy. And if they fail to resolve their structural weaknesses before the 2026 season, they won't be fighting for podiums. They will be fighting to survive in a grid that waits for no one. In any other era, talking about Ferrari's future in Formula One would have been synonymous with optimism, of tradition, of prestige, of machinery capable of reinventing itself and conquering. But in 2026, all of that is at stake. Ferrari faces a technical, strategic, and cultural crossroads of historic proportions. And for the first time in a long time, the question floating in the air is not if they will win again, but if they will manage to stay in the elite. The new regulation is not only a technical challenge, it is a test of an institutional nature, because it will no longer be enough to have a competitive car. It will be necessary to have solid processes, flexible structures, and an absolutely integrated approach between all departments: engine, aerodynamics, software, simulation, strategy, and track operations. Each component must speak the same language, and if there is a weakness in that chain, the system will collapse. Do you think Ferrari will manage to transform its current weaknesses into strengths before the start of 2026? Subscribe to continue uploading more of that content. Now you really think about all this.